Suplifters. Today I want to talk about a topic that I really hold dearly next to my heart, which is the beauty of unorthodox training. And I want to firstly start by saying what I mean by unorthodox training. And what I mean by that, I don't mean any of that Joel Seedman Bosu ball balancing exercises bullshit. That is junk training. That is not unorthodox training. What I mean by unorthodox training is a methodology of training that actually is bringing tangible results to people, which doesn't really, let's say, align with what the other people that are working in that category of exercise or discipline are doing. And I know that this sentence sounded extremely complicated. I was just trying to make sure to put everything in the right place. So let's start with an easy example. Max Holloway. Max Holloway was the featherweight champion of the world in the UFC. He's an amazing fighter, probably the second best featherweight at the moment, and also of all time, for sure, second or third, arguably, but I still think that he's the second best, and Volkanovski is probably the first, especially after, this weekend's performance. So, why do I say that he trains in an unconventional way? Well, for starters, he started when he was extremely young and he had no money to pay for trainers. And this is something that he told Joe Rogan in his podcast. He told him, I was playing UFC 2 or 1, the video game, and he basically copied what the character of Jose Aldo was doing. So he copied a video game to understand how to throw kicks. Tell me that is not unorthodox, and yeah, it works for him. He has very good kicking technique, he's very good in Muay Thai. I would argue that he's better at boxing, but understand that it's still phenomenal that this guy actually learned from a video game, not even a video tutorial, from a video game. They're just polygons, they are pixels, and he learned from that. Moving on further down in his career to more recent times, he said that he doesn't spar anymore. Why doesn't he spar? Well, number one, it doesn't really make any sense to get touched on the head too much, but also he's been fighting for a lot of time, so he doesn't really have any type of ring rust. He doesn't really need to spar that much. He just needs to shadow box, to flow, and when he steps back in the octagon, he's already ready to do it. However, how many people actually do not spar? I only heard of him and maybe somebody else that I really can't think of at the top of my mind, or more in general, like I think it was like Cuban boxers, which actually do spar, but they do it like extremely light, like almost no contact sparring, just to be able to understand how they throw things and how to react to it without actually giving each other damage. And that is a smart thing to do, but maybe that doesn't work for everyone. That works for Holloway, and that is why he is doing it. Again, let's keep on the MMA train. Let's look at the king of unorthodox training ever, which is Tony Ferguson. He did all of the funkiest things you've ever seen. He basically did like weird moves weird wrestling throws to the heavy bag. He does a lot of weird calisthenics movement. He basically does all of those ball bullshit. Now, do I think that you should do them? Well, absolutely not, because you're gonna get injured. That guy trains like a savage, however, and he does it, and he has had great results for a lot of time, and you can't really argue with that. He had a 13-fight win streak in the most competitive division ever, which is the lightweight division. So can you really say that all of this stuff doesn't work? Well, it might not work for 99% of the people, but it actually worked for him. Let's keep moving on. Now let's move on maybe some other type of disciplines, okay? Let's think about Ivan Duric. He squats every day. If you look at any powerlifting program, there is no way that they're gonna make you squat every single day, not even on strongmen or in general, even Olympic weightlifters. There is not a single training program that makes you squat every day. However, why does he do that? Because I think this is what he said. He said, I am not a genetic specimen, so how am I supposed to reach a very high level in this ability, which is squatting, if I do not do something different than genetic specimen? So the idea is that, of course, people who are built to squat are gonna be able to reach that level doing normal training. However, he who in theory is not built for that must find a different path to do it. Because if he just trained like everybody else did, number one, he might never catch up. Number two, he might simply never reach the goal because he trained like everybody else and everybody else like him never reached that goal. So he's trying something new. He's literally pioneering the ability of squatting every day. And maybe one day, I don't know, I'm probably exaggerating, but that is a real possibility, is realize it. Realize that one day we might realize that actually squatting every single day is the best way to have a good squat. Maybe it won't be used because if you squat every day, you can't really dedicate yourself to the other big three, the other big two, sorry, in the powerlifting world. But understand that there might be value in that. There might be something new. And basically, the more the uncharted territory you are exploring, the more interesting stuff and concepts you can bring back and share with other people. And that is, in fact, the beauty of unorthodox training. Let's think about active recovery. People usually have a split in which they have days off. I do not. I literally train, quote unquote, every single day. But you know that my Sunday session isn't exactly training. You know, I usually do my high pulls, which I didn't do this weekend because of my bad sleep schedule, because I had some trouble. But I basically practice some different movement with a load, and that is all of it. Then all I do is just squat technique, deadlift technique, ankle mobility stuff, shoulder mobility. I try different exercises to see what works for me and what is giving me actual relief, actual results. But maybe basically working out every single day isn't sustainable for everyone. At the same time, not everyone can handle the volume I handle weekly. Because if you look at my upper body sections, which is the part of the body that I train the most, because my legs are still at the beginning of their development, really, I handle a lot of volume. You know, I have lots and lots of sets every single week, and they are packed of basically exercises in the sense that they're not junk volume. The baseline is still intact, so I'm still the baseline doesn't stay intact, so that means that they are training sets, okay? They are not just pump your blood and stuff like that. But maybe not everybody can train like me either. Again, another example of unorthodox training, maybe we can think of the Bulgarian Method, which is something that actually has failed. Basically, these guys literally hit their max every single day. And if you could survive that, you were gonna become an extremely good athlete, of course, but the majority couldn't survive it. So they understood that it wasn't a system which was sustainable. But you can't really argue with the results. At the time, they were amazing at Olympic weightlifting. Unorthodox training to me is something that must be explored, that must be understood, and must be tried on your own skin. But understand that if that works for you, that might be some kind of common dividend that might work for other people. So the more people try to do funky stuff and weird stuff and stuff that maybe doesn't make any sense on paper, but it actually does work, maybe we can actually keep pushing out the knowledge regarding physical training. Another thing that also came from Ivan, which is the Bilbo Method, which is, I think, this Spanish guy, which basically tells you to do a single rep of, I think it's only for the bench press. He does a single heavy rep, and then he does like 50 reps with 40% of the weight or something like that. And that apparently gave him amazing results in the bench press, okay? So can you really say that didn't work? Because it actually did. The guy hit some cool numbers. So try it, maybe it will work. So try to pick and choose and find value in pretty much all of this weird training environment, weird training methods, and maybe you will find something that will work amazingly for you. Also understand that the more people experiment, the more new things we can try and we can share. Because if everybody all did the same program and nobody ever tried something new, we will still be stuck with the knowledge of years and years ago. That is it for today's video. See you guys in the next one.